Hi guys, and welcome to a new devlog of my indie game Raidborn, which is a sandbox action RPG set in an adventurous fantasy world. Follow me along and enjoy interesting behind the scenes footage and actively participate in the development of the game. But now let's see what I have for you today. New spike traps, a sneak mechanic implementation, a new hitmarker, and more. The first thing I would like to show you are the new spike traps I added to the game. Later I will also add some more, but I just wanted to show you all of them in a row here. I quite have some models I can use for spike traps, and I just set them up to work so I can kick the enemies into and they will die. Tell me what is your favorite so far. Mine is the second one from the left. The next small thing I added was a bow hitmarker, which actually is inspired by Call of Duty, especially the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which has been released some time ago. I also changed the sound a little bit so it can be heard, ignoring the distance. What that means is if you shoot with your bow and the projectile hits an enemy, you will hear it no matter how far away the enemy will be. You may expect it to sound unnatural, however, instead it actually is pretty satisfying. I think overall, together with the bow hitmarker and that sound, I think it really feels pretty cool, and I'm curious to hear what you think about it. Now it was time to do some balancing for the game, so I started up Excel with a brand new document and started building a very rough foundation to be able to test all those values in the game and to see if the game is ultimately challenging and fun at the same time. In the first step, I started balancing the different enemy types, which are skeletons, goblins, and bandits, which are all different in the way they will react in the game. And as you see, I have different values to tweak them, not only health and damage. They also come in 4 different difficulty levels, including a boss enemy, which has to be balanced separately. The different values I have to balance them is the move speed, power attack chance, the block time, which determines how long an enemy will block after he is getting attacked. We have the attack frequency, how often will an enemy start an attack. We have attack speed, which is the attack animation playback speed, and also determines how many attacks an enemy will do within a certain amount of time. Then we of course have damage, and we have the max attacker's value, which stands for how many enemies are allowed to attack the player at once. Because some time ago I built a system that limits the amount of enemies which are allowed to play the attacker at once, so that you don't get overwhelmed by too many enemies and it gets a little bit weird and the combat system gets clunky. So, for example, the goblins could attack in larger numbers than, for example, the bandits, and that's a nice value which will help me balance and also give the different enemy types some character. I will later also add some more values to play around with, for example the stun probability, which determines how high the chance is that enemy will get stunned, so that, for example, higher level enemies can't get stunned at all maybe, or have a very low probability to get stunned. Next, it was time to play around with the player weapons, armors, shields, and stuff like that. And as you can see, I again have different values to play around with, not only a damage value, but also force value, speed value, handling, and range. And I think that will help me adding personality and character to the different weapons and to really make them feel unique. And it also adds more depth to the overall combat system. In the end, I was also playing around a little bit with the different gold amounts you earn in a dungeon and the different item prices and the prices for pets, for example, or for upgrading the player home. Now it was time to implement a cool system which I initially didn't plan to add, but which has been requested by you guys, and I decided to play around with it a little bit. And that is a stealth mechanic. Actually, I thought, let's try this and let's see if it is going to work, and I can tell you it was actually pretty easy to do because I had the important systems like a field of view system for the enemies already there. However, what's going to be tricky in the future is to implement that functionality into the game, for example, to the level design and that everything works, and also that it is balanced. But we will see. I'm also not yet sure how much functionality and features I will add to the system. So far, I'm just planning a pretty subtle stealth mechanic because ultimately my game is not a stealth game. But I could think of a skill tree for sneaking, sneak damage, and maybe stealth kills with daggers, for example. I could think of that, but I'm not yet sure if I will add all of this to the game. Still, I'm happy that I added it, and I think it will add more tactical depth to the gameplay. But now, let's take a look at how it looks in the game. So at first I will show you how it looks when the player is not sneaking. So I'm just walking towards that enemy, and you will see that he will attack me or start attacking me pretty early. Now basically the same situation, but now I am sneaking, and you will see that the enemy will wait much longer until he is going to attack me. In the last step, I also had to take the pets into account, because what actually happens if the player is sneaking? How should the pet react? And the way I did it is that the pet will not attack when you are sneaking. It will only react to attack commands or if the player is getting attacked. But now let's take a look at it. First, again, with no sneaking, so the pet will just attack on sight, as you can see in the background here. And now if I enable sneaking, if the player is sneaking, and I will walk to that enemy here, you will see that the pet will not attack and instead wait until I get attacked, and then the pet will react, of course, and it will also react to attack commands, as I have just said. And now I'm really curious to hear what you think about the show and stuff, especially what you think about the new sneak mechanic. Do you think that it is too subtle? Do you think I should add something? What can I improve? And what do you fear could go wrong with the stealth mechanic? I will read every single comment and I will take every single feedback seriously and will try to implement it into the game, as you see, because I just implemented that stealth mechanic because it got requested by one of you, by multiple of you actually. And yeah, I'm really dedicated about the game. I love Raidborn and I can't wait to share the game with you when the beta is ready and to get some actual feedback from you. But for so far, I wish you a wonderful day, stay cool, and see you next week.